Hello, hello, and welcome to VenturePoint D&D, where I, the Dungeon Master, will eventually get that timing right. How's everyone doing?
I'm alright. I'm very warm.
Yeah,
It's very warm.
it's very toasty here, but thankfully less so in the place we're going. Shall we begin?
Yeah.
Alright. When last we saw our party, they had spent a little time unwinding, mainly by shopping and drinking, after completing a series of jobs for the Aetherfall City Council. It was not to last, however, as Xenophilius received an ominous dream summoning him out towards the woods southeast of the city. Upon waking, he was also summoned by a visitor, the young gnome Bip, from the Aeronauts Guild, on behalf of Sarah Findlay, in order to provide the information that was promised to him as part of their deal. Wildstorm, as he came down to breakfast, had an interesting breakfast/card reading with Nana Fox, one of the locals at the Seer's Truth Tavern. She highlighted that the barkeep's newfound temper was due to her daughter, the oracle at the Temple of Siran, closing off to everyone since the crash a couple of weeks ago. For Kaylin, her downtime led to more study in the Temple of Istakaran, which didn't bring more knowledge her way. But a chance encounter with Yarrow Tanner highlighted that not only could she ask the Eladrin running the local magic shop, but she could also ask the fairy in her party that it might know more than he's letting on.
Mm-mm.
On that note, Xenophilius gradually collected the party, besides Vossa, who couldn't be found, together to receive the info from Sarah, namely that the crash site was a vehicle, there is a lot of political disputes happening around it, and also provided a physical map showing suspected debris sites. Leaving Aetherfall behind, the group made their way out into the woods as Xenophilius had promised, and met an envoy of the King of Ash and Thorn. They were led through into what they believed might have been the Feywild, into the heart of the Bramble Court, to be sent as ambassadors to the court for a party in a few days' time. We rejoin the group as they make their way back down the road to Aetherfall, with a few interesting sights coming into dock in the city ahead of them. Now, I believe exactly where we left off was Wildstorm, Xenophilius, and Kaylin walking down the dirt track towards Aetherfall, off to sort of the northwest of them. And what you could see in the distance just about from the angle was two ships of varying design coming into the port underneath the city. You could see it off in the distance in the water. And one airship of slightly different design to the ones that you've seen. And in fact, Xenophilius, you travelled on one. No, you've all travelled on one. Of course you have. But different again to that one as well. Where there was some arcana craft, so magic involved in the levitation of the ships that you've travelled on. This looks like it is some sort of... Even from a distance, you can see these large metallic engines on the back belching flame out of the back of them to keep this ship aloft and propelled with a large balloon atop it. Alright. And I think we had left it as Wildstorm managed to pinch the letter that Xenophilius had been given from Xenophilius' hands.
My letter!
Calm down, I'm just going to read it. He just swipes it open. Holds it a little like up in the air while he does so. He goes, bored now. Gives it back to you, Xenophilius.
Oh.
And I will add that to your thing in case you want to read it out.
Again, am I not allowed to read it out?
You don't have to.
As in, was I explicitly told not to?
No.
I mean, Kaylin's going to want you to read it out because you are on some
iffy ground.
Iffy ground. Why not think about iffy ground?
Right, it should be in your handouts, Xenophilius, if you want to look that over for a minute. Vossa, we're going to cut back to you. What have you been doing in the 10 days downtime that you've had so far?
I think she probably would have been sort of practicing her cleric skills a little bit.
A little bit of devotion here, a little bit of magic practice there.
Yeah. And I think also she would probably be like trying to see if she can like overhear any talk amongst like local residents about like the crashes and like is anyone else having like experiences with like hearing stuff or like stuff like that.
Okay.
Just sort of not like hardcore investigating, just sort of like
just sort of reading the general gist of everything.
Yeah, like eavesdropping in pubs sort of thing.
Okay. And that was just in regards to the crash and things, was that, or did I misunderstand?
Yeah, so just like the crash sites and stuff, see like how much the general public knows, how they're feeling about it.
Okay.
Probably
over the course of that downtime then, what you'd pick up on would be most of the people in the pubs that you visit seem to have kind of moved on a little bit now. There's an atmosphere of, especially towards the end of the 10 days, like this, we're pretty sure we're mostly back to normal once those guys manage to fix the lift, which you would find out from that that it's actually fairly soon after the thing that they're planning to relaunch the elevator up and get it working again. But generally there's an atmosphere of impatience to return to normal life. You know? There's been a lot of trials and tribulations in dealing with the loss. But a lot of people now, it's been a couple of weeks, so most people have come to terms with some of it. Probably in some of the smaller pubs towards the north, if you visit any of those in your hopping, you would probably find more people that are in sort of heavy grief for the losses they've suffered, because that's the end of the town that the main graveyard is at with the Temple of Nyctos. But overall, just generally, there's a curiosity about what it was that crashed above us and tore through the city. But mostly, things are settling back to an I'd like to get back to normal, please. All right. Cool. Xenophilius and Kaelin, then we'll cut back to you and Wildstorm as you read through the letter.
You gonna read it?
Does anyone know how to tell the time by frogs?
Not me.
Can you cut this act?
What? No, I'm being very serious. Does anyone know how to tell the time by frogs?
Why?
There is. Oh, one sec. What does he sound like?
It's your voice.
Hello. Xenophilius. Does anyone know how to read the time by frogs?
Just read us the letter.
Oh.
Wildstorm does look over and go, to be fair, it did say frogs.
It said frogs.
It says, please ensure your prompt arrival by third croak frog.
Third croak frog.
Yep. Third crog croak. Third frog croak.
We don't know if this is Xenophilius or if this is Dylan's dyslexia.
Which one do you think it is?
It might be the latter.
No.
Do you want me to read it out for you, not in
No.
Xenophilius' voice? No? Okay.
No. Oh, yes.
Yeah?
I want you to read it.
Not in Xenophilius' voice, is what I said.
My dear dark fowl of the Bramble Court, your presence
This
is
is not. Sorry, you're being Matt Berry right now.
honored Hawk Fae of the Bramble Court. Your presence is requested to celebrate the 1000th anniversary of the ascension of
Yeah.
Larissa,
Nissa.
Oh, like Spanish.
Yes.
Larissa, Grand Lady of Carbondale.
I'm cheating and reading it off
I know.
Dylan's screen. I'll be struggling.
We will be waiting to receive you at the floating mansion of the Glower Court on the 970th
197th.
day of the shifting moons. Please ensure your prompt arrival by the third frog's croak. Yours with glowing joy, Arsendielio.
Alekino.
Alakina.
Just copied from the Tian Platinum. Gifts welcome with essential. Mosques will be provided.
Okay, and those who can't understand Xenophilius, honoured Archfey of the Bramble Court, your presence is requested to celebrate the 1000th anniversary of the ascension of Yanissa, Grand Lady of the Carnival. We will be waiting to receive you at the floating mansion of the Glamour Court on the 197th day of the shifting moons. Please ensure your prompt arrival by third frog's croak. I'm messing it up now.
Tricky one, that one.
Yours with glowing joy, Arlecchino. Dress code, formal attire, platinum. Gifts welcomed but not essential. Masks will be provided.
I don't know about you, but I don't have any platinum.
Do you?
No. Why would I have any platinum? There you go, that's the letter. I read it aloud to you.
Mean anything to Kaylin?
Which bit? All of it.
Yeah, any of it?
Make me... This would be an intelligence check. No advantage or disadvantage, just straight
Oh, this is
roll.
going to be low, isn't it? That's very uncharacteristic of you, isn't it?
Not talk to me.
Wow. That is a saving throw rather than a check.
Oh,
No, we can take that, just take two off, because that's removing the proficiency bonus. Okay, so that'd be a 19.
Still pretty good.
Still pretty good. With a 19, this is very much the kind of thing that you've heard tell of. I don't think Kaelin would have been to any Fey Court events, but there certainly would have been a couple of people, more of the sort of political representatives of the group that you lived with, who would come back on occasion with ridiculous tales of meetings with the Oaken Court. And this is very much the kind of language that Archfey like to use. Alright.
Okay. Does the croaking mean anything to me?
Not immediately. A lot of Fey use odd things to measure or riddles to be included. You get the feeling that this is maybe a time measure, with that intelligence check, a time measure in the Feywild.
Okay.
So this is probably something that will make more sense when you're there at closer to the time, as opposed to like now. The day thing is more important.
Okay.
Not that you would probably have measured anything by a Fey calendar so much.
When are we reconvening?
Probably as soon as these guys get back to the city.
I say we should get back to the city. Onwards!
It just marches off, and Kaelin Wildstorm just gives you a look and looks back at him and goes, and walks off in the same direction. All right.
No.
Cool.
I'm
So
gonna stand by the beach.
you up?
The beach.
Well, yeah, aren't we on a beach?
Nope. You're on a
Oh.
dirt track on a cliff above the ocean.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool. So you make your way back towards the city. Vossa, in your hoppings, you probably would have received a message, most likely after these guys had headed off, from Yarrow Tanner, inviting you to essentially come and do some more research on the object in the back of your neck. All right. So with that, you're probably, do you go with them, or you have the invitation? You don't have to go.
Oh, to do research stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You go. Cool. In which case, they greet you at the temple once you arrive, and it is while you are mid-research with them that you hear some clamouring from outside of the temple, and indeed some of the drakes and gildans that are patrolling the floors go to the front door and take a look outside if they're able. Yarrow sort of looks up and goes, "If there's anything I know, that probably means it's something that I'll need to go and attend to. My apologies."
Yeah. Take your time.
Well, if there's this many people viewing, probably I won't be coming back. So please don't feel free to stay if you don't want to.
Oh, okay.
If you'll excuse me. And they will pack up their things and make very quick headway towards the exit of the temple. And by this point, probably you'd pick up that anyone who wasn't as interested comes back past and is just going like, "I don't know why people are getting so excited. We've seen airships, they've docked before, I don't..." And just move on up the stairs towards further research stations.
I mean, I want to see what's happening.
Alright.
I want to know what's going on.
So you pack on up and bound down. Yarrow, by the time that you've done that, has probably immediately headed towards the stairs at the outside of the city. So they are very much going... they are very much gone out of sight as soon as you've sort of poke your head around the door. But you can now see this airship off in the distance, a design you've never seen before. The hull is sleeker than the ones you've seen and travelled on. And the lines to it are just a little bit more smooth, if that makes sense. But what draws the eye is that outside of this ship, attached to it, are bulky metal barrels almost, at different angles, shooting flame in different directions, and two large ones on the back that seem to be doing so as well. And you can see a little trail of smoke around the back of it as well.
Is that like surprising to me.
It's not something you are aware of. To your knowledge, and you guys have been coordinating with the aeronauts for some time now, comparatively. This was not anything they had mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And usually most stuff that involves airships in the city, they're aware of. So, this is unusual.
Yeah, I guess I'll just kind of maybe try and sidle up, get a closer look.
Okay. Would you head down to the lower level? Because it does seem to be ever so slightly lowering as you watch it. Or would you stay up here is the question.
Probably go towards the lower level.
Cool. Probably by the time you reach the lower level of the city, because it takes you out of the city, down the stairs, and then sort of out back into the city on the lower level. You'd probably see Yarrow up ahead, off in the distance, just a figure entering the city gates. And 3 figures making their way towards the city from the opposite direction. 1 smaller, 1 cat, and 1 elf. Xenophilius, you would probably spot her after the other 2.
Spot the cat.
I mean, Wildstorm's there with you. I don't know why you'd need to spot him.
Spot the cat.
Yeah, you see Vossa coming down the stairs.
Vossa!
Oh, were you on that ship?
No, I wish. The days of sailing above the sky are ones I miss dearly, even though we came from a forest. That forest over there, actually.
Literally just been on a ship in the sky.
I like ships and what? I don't appreciate your attitude.
I do.
Is that Alex or is that Wildstorm?
Wildstorm.
Who was on that ship?
Don't know.
Perhaps we should go and investigate.
Well, that's what I was gonna do.
Sounds like we're all in agreement then.
Onward! Excelsior!
All right. You make your way through the city, which, for as much as there are some people sort of ogling up in the air at this airship coming in, there is mostly just a sense of getting on with the day. Until you reach closer to the main stretch of the city, the plaza with the town hall and the elevator. There is a large promenade, which is where the Seer's Truth Tavern is and a few of the temples of the city. That stretches out all the way to a plaza on the edge of the cliff. And you have to kind of go through that plaza mostly to get to the promenade to then get to the main plaza. And it's as you approach the cliffside plaza that you begin to see groupings of people. People clamoring around, whispers between them of what's going on. I've not seen an airship pulling down here. This is strange. As the airship is coming down almost level with the cliffside plaza. The 2 ships that you'd spotted from a distance are still on their way in, but they are. You'd probably only just be able to see the tips of the masts when you're sort of tiptoeing over people. Or Xenophilius, if you pop up into the air, you can see a little bit more of the masts. They are moving into the docks underneath the main city bulk, as it were. And you can see now, as you sort of muscle through the crowd a little bit as best you can, you can see what look like a somewhat older, little bit of brown hair, but mostly greying, with a thick mustache and beard, and a large golden chain sash around him. You can see this man approaching towards the airship across the plaza, surrounded by a flank of guards, as well as a couple of other figures that are sort of trailing behind, less guard around them. And there is a rushed pomp and circumstance to this. You can see quite a lot of figures making their way out. You can, Vossa, you'd be able to spot Yarrow a little bit ahead of you, as would Kaylin. You know how to pick them out in a crowd, because you know what they look like. You'd also be able to see a small gap not too far away, with a couple of gnomes and Sarah, who's also come out to see what the fuss is about. Oh no, in fact, sorry. No, they were up on the top floor. No, they wouldn't actually. Sorry, that group wouldn't be there. They would be up on the top. Yeah. So you can see this this procession, and as they approach the edge of the plaza that the ship is approaching, a board is pushed along from the ship to the plaza floor, and from it there are several figures that depart. You can see a few guards first in very different dress, where the guards of the city are in more sort of like traditional plate, gambesons, that sort of thing. These guards are in what look more like robes with like single pauldron strapped across, and long sort of long blades attached to their sides.
Like Romans.
No, more like Ronin.
Okay.
More like not samurai. Think kind of Hanzo from Overwatch.
I don't play much Overwatch.
That's fine. I'm just giving you something to Google later. So these new guards come down and sort of form a respectful line either side of the planks, as several figures move their way down it. In a very fine silken kimono is a tiefling, who, for those who've not encountered tieflings before, she has small devil horns, and a tail. Most of her skin is white with patches of sort of blotchy red, and red on the horns as well. You can't see much other detail from a distance, but you can make out those details of this figure. She descends the ramp and gives a deep bow to this authoritative figure, who also gives a bow back. She steps aside, and following down the ramp, now I think I remember them properly, are three figures. Two of them with dark skin, human. They proceed down the ramp together. It's a little tight, but they do it. In very fine clothing, again, more sort of practical clothing than the dress kimono that the tiefling was wearing. And following after them is what looks like a tabaxi, who she's wearing like a much more practical dress, less finery, You get the feeling this is like a familial bodyguard slash servant type deal. And these figures proceed down the ramp as well, to varying degrees of bowing again from them and the figure. You can see there's discussion for probably about 5 minutes between the figures. And then, with seemingly an agreement made, the plank from the airship is retracted. And the airship begins to move away from the edge of the cliff. And these figures are escorted by all the series of guards back through the city and down off the main promenade towards the city hall. Alright. Everything okay? You all look like you're waiting with bated breath.
So Frog's just being so violent.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm seeing a little white paw
oh
coming
dear.
in the frame.
Oh dear.
My please. I'm busy. I
So-
think. Do any of these people look familiar?
Not to you, no. You'd never have seen any of these people.
What about to me?
Yeah, to any of us.
Nope.
Ah,
Ah,
Wildstorm seems to be watching a little more intently than you guys, though.
What, Storm? Are you okay? You look to be a bit enhanced.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Is that like a I'm fine, or is that a I'm fine? I'm fine.
I said I'm fine. I don't. What's the difference?
That's a bad I'm fine.
How are other people reacting to the tiefling and
There's definitely a lot of hubbub.
can I overhear anyone?
Give me a perception check.
Come on.
When it gets
you need to say you're giving me a side eye. You can't just give me a side eye.
is it in character? Is it not?
Oh no.
That's the thing. If it's not an in-character side eye, it doesn't necessarily have to be announced. Ooh. Everything all right with your connection, Audrey?
Potentially not.
Potentially not.
Did the roll come through at least?
No.
No, not so far. Ooh. Your camera's moving, it's glitching out a bit, and we can't hear you.
Dark spell. Whose cat is that?
That's mine.
Oh, okay.
Ours is here though.
Hello, you.
Well, yeah.
Hello, you. You ready to climb me again? There
I'm
we
trying to
go.
get.
She's not going to come up. It's close to dinner time.
I don't know. She looked very affectionate at dinner time.
Is Audrey back?
No.
No? I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm assuming there's some issue with the connection.
Or the universe is imploding and it just hasn't reached the rest of us yet.
It's going to happen fairly quickly.
Can't hear
Oh.
you.
Yeah, we will. I'm guessing that none of
Oh,
I got some of that.
some of that.
Oh my god.
I think the
Wait.
network might be sending all of her audio at once.
Yeah, it was sending me everything that you guys did
Okay.
at once.
I think there was a slowdown on your network. So where were we? You were doing a roll, perception, I think.
Yep. I think. Yeah, looks like it's just. Okay, cool. It's loading the character sheet now,
All right.
so we can do the check.
Dear.
Good.
It's all right. This stuff happens. What I will say is, so far you've overall got a vibe. All of you really can tell that this is astonishing. Most people are very surprised by this. And there's very much like an air of, ooh, we have visitors? We very rarely get visitors from so far. You know? Unfortunately, with 11 perception, you don't get much more than that. To be honest, most of the verbal communication you can hear is literally that. It's like surprise and awe at, oh my god, we've got these visitors in the city. Got to make sure my shop's clean. You know. But nothing that would seem more pertinent than that.
Right. Would we feel? I feel we're very important, and I feel particularly like we're important people. So let's.
Kaylin is mad at Xenophilius.
Yeah, but you have to announce the side-eye. You can't need a side-eye.
For ease of everyone's play, if you just announce any in-character side-eyes.
Do I notice that Kaylin is annoyed?
I'm not being subtle.
I was going to say, with your insight, you'd probably have enough to passive pick up on. Kaylin's not particularly pleased with Xenophilius. Wildstorm is more bemused than anything, I think.
Kaylin is like fucking livid.
How does Xenophilius feel about Xenophilius?
I feel like you just love yourself.
Yeah, you decide that.
Xenophilius is thrilled.
Yeah, there's definitely something that's happened that has maybe set Kaylin a little bit against Xenophilius.
Uh-oh.
We best get ready to go to a party. I reckon they will have some fashion tips. What say you, Kaylin?
Don't talk to me.
Oh.
What party?
We've been invited to a party.
Yeah, what party?
Oh, it's need to know. Too many ears about right now.
To be fair, with loudly announcing a party like that, there is sort of like some discussion, Vossi, you'd pick up on nearby of like, wait, party? Is there going to be a party?
Oh, the birthday party. That's just close friends and family. Yes.
Yes, that's the party.
That party.
Give me a
Let's
deception check. I'd say that one. On Voss's behalf. That is enough. They sort of look at it and who knows, maybe there is a party, and they're just talking. They're talking to themselves now. They're wandering off. They were like turning to look at you, but they just go, maybe there will be a party. You know, maybe we can try and get on that list. You know.
They're probably like, oh, a private party. How boring.
Vossa, do you know how to tell the time by frogs?
Now, would I know? Because I am from the Feywild, aren't I?
Give me an intelligence check, just straight intelligence check, by clicking the intelligence bit on the stat.
Are we all from the Feywild, apart from Wildstorm?
Yep.
I'm from above the Feywild, so that helps.
It's still the same dimension, so. 16. You don't get anything much more than Kaelin did, really, with a 16.
Does Xenophilius know how to count the time by frog?
Does Xenophilius know anything?
I really, from the bottom of my heart, just want to say no. Just flat out no. But go ahead. Go ahead and give me an intelligence check if you
I
like.
hope everyone's looking forward to this crit.
I hope it's terrible after that. I got my wish.
Xenophilius, there are many frogs in the Feywild, and I think you'd probably go on a little bit of a mental tangent thinking, oh, but there's this kind of frog, and there's this kind of frog. Oh, and I've seen that one with 3 mouths. Does that one croak 3 times at once?
I don't think I remember a frog wearing a watch.
Oh, I've seen many frogs wearing a watch. Like Norbert. I miss Norbert. He was a good friend. Kept me company in nights when they were cold. And the storm happened. But I won't talk about the storm.
Hey, Voss is gonna sort of just leave Xenophilius to it, like, okay. Kind of sidle over to Kaelin and be like, so what's going on?
I don't know fully. Xenophilius definitely knows more than he's letting on. But he won't tell us what's going on. We've been invited to a party. Let me check my notes. I say we, Xenophilius, but I think he can bring guests. He's been invited to a party. Oh God, have I written enough notes?
But we are in the company of bad other people. Keep it very quiet to yourself.
By this point, most of the crowds have disappeared. The airship itself has moved away and is beginning to rise up towards the higher level. Some people are dispersing to follow it up to the higher level and sort of crowd around the Aeronauts Guild later to sort of fawn at it and wonder what's going on. And the rest have either gone back to their daily lives or are following down the promenade, hoping to sort of catch a glimpse as these figures make their way through to what remains of the town hall.
Calm down. But if need be, like, I guess we could telepathically speak.
Vossa and Kaelin,
Yeah.
to some degree.
Where did I get to? Yeah, Xenophilius has been invited to a party hosted by, I've got written down the Archfey.
Mm-hmm.
An
Archfey. He's to go in place of the King of Ashen Thorns from... Why haven't I written stuff down? The Bramble Court, which I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that they were fully real until just now. It's going to be quite dangerous. I've got written is in the Glamour Court, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's being hosted by the Glamour Court.
Being hosted by the Glamour Court. I'm just really suspicious of everything that is going on.
You saying that out loud?
No, but it's probably quite clear that Kaelin is like...
I can't remember how I ruled it for the conversation between you two via that, whether you get everything or whether you get the gist.
I thought we were like still actually just speaking out loud.
Yeah, as it's quiet, but yeah, if people...
Yeah, I think it was just we could speak telepathically
Okay,
if
but you didn't. That's fine.
if like someone suddenly showed up.
Yeah. So you're just saying it quietly. Everyone's, like I said, dispersing, so there's no one around you right now. So.
Could I make like a history check or something?
I will
like,
say for you,
would those courts mean anything to me?
there is information I would give to you for free. Okay. The Bramble Court is almost a legend in your home, it's a legend. There are people who talk about those who've gone rogue being kidnapped by the Bramble Court. Other stories say that people go out willingly seeking them, but no one really from your home would believe that it's real either. It's kind of those things where there's a suspicion and there's like a common consensus that it might be and probably is, but nothing's ever confirmed it. All right. It's mostly used as almost, I would say, a boogeyman tale around your home. You can make me an intelligence check or history check to have anything more concrete than that. All right.
We are going to go for a history check.
All right.
Would I, before I roll this,
Okay.
given that I spent time in like a wealthy home with tutors, have sort of been taught about it as sort of like kind of mythos, kind of history, sort of like.
I'm gonna say no,
Okay.
only because everything you'd have been taught would probably be the exact same thing that would be like widespread rumor. There's nothing more concrete on them throughout any of the class tiers.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh.
16. With a 16, there were sometimes rumors growing up of people that had visited the Bramble Court and come back, but there was never anything that got confirmed. At least not for you. And every time you'd ever ask about it, people were like, "Oh, that's just a fairy story," which, ironically, that's just a story. You know, they wouldn't call it a fairy story. It's just a story. It's just a frightened little kids sort of thing. Most of your home are warned not to travel widely anyway because of the terrain nearby. So there's never really been a major push to confirm it or not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is probably the most confirmation you've ever had that they are real. Yes.
What about the King of Ash and Thorn? Nothing.
Nothing. No.
What about
so little is known about the Bramble Court widely.
What about the Glamour Court?
The Glamour Court, with that history check, the Glamour Court are very much more out there. Yanissa is fairly well known, mostly for throwing elaborate parties, which obviously this matches up. And I would say, in terms of the more well-known Sealy Court members, Yanissa's probably within the top 5. The most famous two, sticking with tradition, being Titania and Oberon. Or Alberion, sorry. Alberion.
So...
Which,
he's
Kaylin,
not
you
like
would know those names as well.
Man, evil fairy.
Yeah, well, as far as you know him, yeah.
Okay. Also not sure how she feels about this.
Mm-hmm.
Very...
Does she now realise why Kaylin is...
Not pleased.
Yeah. So they ran into the King of Ash and Thorn.
No, we are summoned.
As if it has led us there. which is even more so why I'm shooketh.
Oh, that's so weird. Yeah. Voss is like, Xenophilius, what the fuck?
And he's just feigning, or as far as Kaelin's concerned, feigning complete ignorance and
You said too much.
no knowledge.
You said too much.
Wildstorm at this point is just like, I'm gonna have a drink, and walks off in the direction of the Seer's Truth now that people are sort of most of the way down the promenade.
You know what I've been thinking of recently? Owlbears. Such exquisite creatures. Could you, Kaelin, if you had the opportunity, would you turn into an
I'm
owlbear?
not going to even entertain this.
An owlbear would be so cool. I'm off to have a drink as well, actually. You two are being weird. And one thing that I can't stand is weirdness.
He marches off. Kaelin and Vossa, you are left pretty much on your own at this point in the plaza, except for a couple of people that are now moving through it in their normal patterns for the daily ins and outs and comings and goings. As Wildstorm and Xenophilius march off towards the tavern.
What time of day is it?
So this... I can't remember what time of day I said you guys were in the woods. I feel like it was midday-ish.
Did anybody see that?
Saw someone
No.
there.
He just pulled my glasses off my face with his mouth.
Wow.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, probably we're talking maybe 1 p.m. at this point on this day. Alright?
Because Kaelin is really keen to try and find some information on Xenophilius because she thinks that there's more going on. So wants to do some serious research and see what she can find out about him.
Okay. How is she going to research it is the question.
Would I have any contact in the city? Just people I knew before.
I think we gave you a couple of contacts to start with, which should be in Roll20 for you in your handouts.
Would I be able to would I know where they hung out, and would I be able to ask them about Xenophilius?
Most of them were in the Temple of Istar Karan, if I remember right.
Would I be able to go there and ask them if they knew who he is?
Absolutely can. You will need to climb the stairs, though.
Or bunny hop them, it's fine.
Okay.
How many stairs are there?
This is the grand staircase that takes you from Tier 1 of Aetherfall up the cliff to Tier 2. So it's quite a few stairs. I believe you guys have climbed it before with you in the party. You need to make a Constitution save against exhaustion. These stairs are usually used in emergencies only, so...
Can we, hail a cab? Like a boat cab?
Nope.
Lift's broken.
I was going to say, lift's broken, and you can't sail a boat up a cliff.
How long has it
Most
been?
people can't.
How long has it been?
I
How long's it
will,
been? About... Off the cuff, you'd remember it as somewhere between 15 and 20 days.
And the lift is still broken.
It's a big lift, needs a lot of intricate arcane work.
Yeah, but I mean, this seems to be a pretty big issue in the
look,
city.
At my current job and my previous jobs, the lift has been broken for months or more.
To be fair, the lift in our building's always dodgy.
Yep.
Okay. But it doesn't
Fine.
mean...
I'll do the stairs.
Okay.
Yep.
Kaelin, are you going up as well?
Yeah.
Constitution saving throws from the both of you, please. With advantage, Vossa, if you're doing your bunny hopping, is where you can.
Yes.
That one? Am I thinking the right one? Yes, I am. Be good, be good, be good. Oh, shit.
Let me just check what the DC was.
I'm guessing it's gonna be like 6 is not gonna be enough.
I can't remember where I put that in the notes.
I'm very much enjoying a rabbit going up these stairs, absolutely fine, and then a slightly tall elf was really struggling.
Short side.
Yeah, as elves go.
Yeah, like I'm still.
You could probably take 3 steps at a time.
Right. I can't find it, so I'm making the call here.
5.
Voss is fine.
No.
Kaylin, unfortunately, you take a point of exhaustion as you
Yeah.
are exhausted by these stairs. You went up in such a rage against Anaphilius.
She's annoyed.
That you forget to check your pacing and you just speed up too fast for.
Do I know any other name for him? Do I have like a surname? Have I paid enough attention? Or is all I've got Xenophilius?
To my knowledge, the only name you have is Xenophilius.
I bet I've heard other ones and I've just not taken it in.
The only thing I can say is check your notes. If they're not in there, then you haven't heard, or Kaylin doesn't remember. All right. Cool. But yeah, you make your way up to the top level of the city, and you can see now the airship is fully docked up the Aeronauts Guild in the distance, sort of on the other side to the Dreadnought. So you see both these ships very dramatically different in design from a distance. All right, but yeah, you can make your way to the temple. So you would both know, obviously, that Yarotana sometimes frequents this place, but Vossa, having done a bit more study here than Kaylin did before Kaylin came to the city, you have a few contacts. You have a contact called Kislin Tivaravath.
Yep.
And one called Lucille Westhold, who are both different levels of the temple, and you can easily ask for either of them. So it'd be your call on which one.
I'm going to go for Lucille.
Lucille. Okay. It's fairly simple to just ask a Drake that's on hand to find her. And Kaylin, you and Vossa are led to a figure in hooded gown with the hood down, human, sort of paler of skin, blonde hair pulled back in a sort of practical ponytail, who sort of looks round to you. Ah, Vossa, it's good to see you again.
Hi, Lucille. How have you been?
I've been all right. Things have been ticking along steadier now that people are a bit more used to the situation. How have you been? And who is your friend?
Sorry, and I've got grapes and buggers trying to fucking
have them.
Oh, leave them be. Stop.
You know, there's a line. You can't go past the line.
This is one of my colleagues, I guess.
Oh, rude.
Well, I mean, we're friends, but we work together, you know. Anyway,
that's
this is Kaylin.
Well met,
Hello.
Kaylin.
We would like to ask if you've know any information on one of our fellow party members?
Okay. I'm not usually the kind to dabble in gossip, but
He's a fairy.
Okay, that is interesting.
Is he a wizard? Sorcerer?
Magic of some sort.
He's not a warlock. I think he's a wizard.
He has a hat, doesn't he?
Let's have a hat.
His name is Xenophilius. And he's been invited on behalf of the King of Ash and Thorn to attend a party held by Bramble Court in the Feywild.
I've dabbled a little into knowledge of the Feywild and the Shadowfell. They relate a little to my field of expertise, but I'm by no means an expert.
Do you know anyone?
I'm not aware of one within this temple, unfortunately. For that kind of information, you'd need to possibly travel to the Breeze branch of the Scaled Archives.
How far away?
You would know. Kaelin, definitely you would know. Breeze is the capital city of the Commonwealth. And it is by airship probably the same distance as you travelled from Wavemeet. So a good few days by airship travel alone. Alright. Xenophilius, in fact, you're not there, but you flew that route. Just so
Okay.
for your context.
So we don't have time to make that journey before the party.
Oh.
Also, what are your thoughts on going to this party?
I don't know.
I'm not going to ask. But I can possibly spend some time here and there while I'm helping others to see whether I can find some books that might aid. If it's a living person of the time, you're unlikely to find specific details about them, especially if there is some sort of Feywild connection or Shadowfell. They might stand out a bit more in a crowd, but unless they are specifically of note within any form of fairy story, then you're unlikely to find anything.
Does she know who the King of Ash and Thorn is?
The name doesn't seem to ring a bell. When you say it, there was no reaction, and she didn't return anything about it. So,
Are there any books concerning the Bramble Court?
ooh, getting a bit of echo there. I'm not sure.
I think it's a connection thing.
Maybe.
It's not happening all the time, it seems. Are there any books, any records of stories about the Bramble Court?
I can direct you to the right section of the temple if that would be a help.
It would, thank you.
Right. She leads you through sort of several different stacks and puts you in a very familiar section to you, Kaelin, because I believe you've been doing some research on that as well.
Yeah.
Kaelin, you've probably gone through most of these books. Haven't seen anything that seems to relate, but obviously you weren't looking directly for that when you were looking. So Vossa, what we'll say is, if you're willing to spend it, you can spend some time today to make an investigation check to see if you can find anything within this section of the library. All right. But Lucille guides you and moves off to help someone else.
Is Kaylin able to assist me?
I should be able to say what books I've looked in and what ones I haven't, if I can remember.
I'll say yeah. Yeah, I was debating making you make a check for it, but that seems a bit unfair.
So, are you good for me to roll investigation?
Investigation with advantage, I will say. Okay. So with that crit,
Oh fuck yes! Yes!
Kaylin is able to highlight any and all books that she thinks she's read through before.
Thanks, babe.
That she didn't find anything in. It narrows it down a lot, but there is still so little written about the Bramble Court that you don't get anything on that regard. What you do find, and it's tucked away in, like, you know when you have a book of like many different things, and then there's like towards the end there's a couple of like shorter snippets of like someone's heard something, include it in the book anyway, just like as a tiny little tidbit. You find a couple of stories, one about like a specific lake that is owned by a nymph that is supposedly off, found within a forest of wanderers, or like unlucky wanderers that are wandering this forest can stumble into the lake, and the nymph either takes them and spits them back out into the world, changed person, or you know, keeps them the same and keeps them in the Feywild, never to be seen again. You see one about various hags that are notable, that people have sort of rumoured across the world. You find a little snippet, just like a sentence or two, saying no, what would it say? I'm trying to think of the exact phrasing a second. It would probably be like a listing. Essentially like sightings various, locations various, description, floating rocks, floating ships, rumours of fairies, unable to investigate. That's the only thing that really catches your eye, as standing out from like the standard fairy stories. This is the only thing that seems to suggest like a location tied to fairies, as opposed to just like a fairy that pops out of nowhere and like casts a spell on someone to turn them into a pig, that sort of thing. This is the only thing that's not that kind, that's not that tone of story. All right. And I'm afraid in this temple, that's what you get on a crit. All right.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, isn't it?
I think it's time to maybe go get some food and have some rest at the Stealthy Cog Tavern.
Kelsey Cog.
Stealthy Cog. Okay. So is that where Kaylin? Is that where Voss is going to head? Because Kaylin's not staying at the Stealthy Cog.
Yeah, no, that's where I will go.
Okay. Kaylin, where would you go from that? Because you would see the same entry.
I mean, there's no more research that I can do. I don't need to sleep, but what else am I going to do?
Well, you need to rest.
Only for like 4 hours
Yeah.
though.
Need and want, though.
You do have a level of exhaustion, don't forget that.
Yes.
Pardon?
So you do definitely need to trance because you've got a level of exhaustion.
Yeah. I will head back to the Seer's Truth and probably bump into Wildstorm.
He is probably several bottles deep at this point.
Wait. But the thing is, who else is at the Seer's Truth?
Xenophilius would also be at the Seer's Truth because he went there to drink.
Yeah.
How drunk is Xenophilius?
Oh yeah, maybe I'll get some information out of him.
Well, I did some research. He has had a pint of cider.
He's small, right?
He is.
How drunk is he? Scale of 1 to 10.
I don't know. Should we do a roll of this?
You
Oh,
can make
yeah.
you can make me a Constitution save.
I hope it's terrible.
How you said you've only had a pint of cider as
Pint of cider, but let's call it fantasy cider, so it's
Okay.
like 8.2%.
right. That means nothing to me because I don't drink.
Twice as
Double what a normal.
twice as a normal
Okay.
one.
Cool. All right. So,
So,
it's
like,
strong
two
cider. Yeah. This isn't the shot that's on fire that knocks you out immediately. This is.
Yeah, I think a couple of pints, but he's a small man, so
That,
a glass of wine
that's
without
fine.
eating.
I was just making a passing shot at one of Audrey's old characters.
Constitution.
Yes, Constitution saving throw. Okay. Xenophilius, he's been like forthright and you've never seen him so out of himself.
Wasted.
Well, the thing is, you don't know what Xenophilius is like when he's wasted.
Xenophilius, what are you like when you're wasted?
Sad.
I thought so.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's never been this un-Xenophilius.
Caitlin doesn't care. She's still going to interrogate him.
No, he's sat there. He's quiet. He's like hugging. Obviously, it's like have you ever seen a Stein, like those massive German ones? That's how big this pint probably is. I think that scale works, doesn't
I
it?
mean, that's a bit more than. Yeah, I suppose with the scale to him, yeah. It'd be regular Stein size, he's just smaller than a normal person. So,
Yeah, he's sort of two-hand hugging it.
yeah. Wildstorm's off in a different section of the tavern, you know, rowdy, raucous, you know, drinking everything. Having a lot of fun with the tavern goers. Yeah, the patrons, that's it. There's singing, there's raucous laughter, jokes being told. Xenophilius is just in a corner at a table on his own.
As Kaylin walks in, initially fuming, gonna sort of go in all guns blazing, but notices his demeanour and thinks, I'm gonna try and be a little bit clever to get information out rather than just yell at a man who looks quite defeated. So she'll go over, say hello, and just ask, how are you?
Oh.
What is to do with that?
Xenophilius is their Gregorian throat singing into his stein.
What's wrong?
I'm alone.
I don't know what to fucking do with this. Kaylin is like, shit. Also, just me as a person, not even a character. Okay, he said he's alone. I'm going to inquire about who he's been with before. His companions, his loved ones.
I'm not going to give you information. You have to. I'm not. You have to ask me.
Let me ask it, like...
Which
I
base?
When have you not been alone?
I was in a tournament. A tournament. I had friends in the tournament.
Sorry, Dylan. Can you physically lean away from the mic, please?
I was friends in the... I had friends in the tournament.
Friends?
There was Zoliot.
Sorry, who?
Zoliot. There was Owen.
Am I spelling this? Have you actually got it written down? Because I'm not good at spelling.
Felix.
How am I spelling the other one?
Zeliot.
No, the other one.
Owen.
Yeah.
Erwin.
Yeah. And the third one?
Felix.
Felix.
Felix?
Right. How did you know them?
We were in a tournament.
What was the tournament?
It was a great battle.
Who were you fighting?
He's hunting through his background notes.
I'll just read them over your shoulder, mate. Don't
No.
worry.
Right, what did you ask?
Who
No,
are you
who are you-
fighting?
The other side I was.
Tell me about the other side.
What? Why? 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 Why?
I'm upset. Interested. Definitely not selfish at all. Oh my god.
There's something up about you today.
You're hiding something.
I'm not hiding none.
Who are you?
I'm Xenophilius, the wise.
The wise?
Oh, the old. I can't remember what day. There's changes all the time.
What's your full name?
Xenophilius.
I don't believe you. You can't just have one name. What's your full name? You look so panicked.
I don't know how. What the thing is, he knows.
Yeah, he's
He
figuring
still
out what
knows.
Xenophilius would say.
Yeah, and he still knows his secrets are secrets.
But he's wrong.
Shh.
You can tell me, it's okay.
Who wants to know my name is Xenophilius?
But do you have a last name?
Yes.
What is it?
They ask you to find me. Oh, I've said too much. I'm gonna stealth away.
Are you scared of them?
Given how drunk he is, I'm just going to say you automatically fail a check to get out the thing and just flop onto the floor next to the table.
I feel like I'm interviewing someone. I feel like I'm at work. Tell me.
So I just fell on the floor, right?
Yep.
Is he still conscious?
Yes.
Okay, keep going. I want the information. Who are they? Yeah, toss was about. Ignore her. She's fine.
No, could you move that? It was in her mouth.
Who are they?
Who are they?
My subjects!
What do you mean subject?
I've said too much and I've had a little bit of drink.
Are you scared of them?
They're scared of me.
When you say subjects, what do you mean?
People?
Specifically, though.
I don't know. I don't want to.
What would Xenophilius do? He seems.
I think you should roll to see if you're loose enough to just spill.
If you're game for that, Dylan, then it would be a wisdom saving throw.
Game.
To see, we'll call it, because you're very drunk, it would be DC 15. Okay.
I will only give up one definitive information.
Yeah. But it's enough to loosen your tongue a little bit, basically.
Do I get to choose which information?
No.
Ah.
It's still Xenophilius' choice as to what he would say in the moment. Yeah.
Okay, so which one is it?
Wisdom saving throw. DC 15. There's just something about the way Kaylin's asking. You're not sure if it's, the fact that she's wibbling all over the place, but you think you can trust her a bit more than you have been so far.
To me.
Okay.
I can see his brain working.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to give you. Okay.
I was a king.
What? I'm just gonna check I've heard that correctly.
And at that point,
He passed out.
Xenophilius was asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I was absolutely on board with you at that point. Yeah, Xenophilius just passes out, snoring, the whole shebang.
He needs to go back to the selfie cog somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I might just drag him into Wildstorm's room. No. Just chuck him on the floor.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, you safely tuck him on the floor. You get the key from Wildstorm, who's a little inebriated himself, but he can handle it a bit better.
Yeah, I imagine he's drunk much more.
You're able to get Xenophilius into Wildstorm's room. You're able to head to your room. Vosset, obviously, you settle down in the stealthy cog for a little bit of a meal and have some rest. Xenophilius, you wake up the next morning. Killer hangover.
Does he remember what he told me?
Ooh. Vosset.
There was a reason I wanted to go to the stealthy cog
my bad.
in particular, because I know the tavern key.
Yes, you do.
And I wanted to see if he knew any gossip about Xenophilius.
Oh, now that is an interesting one.
Should have started there, really.
Maybe, yeah. So, you walk in and you see the very familiar face of Bundane behind the counter. The dwarf, he sort of looks over to you and is like, right, what can I do you for?
Hey, my guy. How's it going? I haven't seen you in forever.
Well, I mean, you've been staying here every night. Look, I've heard worse. What do you need?
No, that was me asking, have I?
You would have been, yeah. That I think we
Sure,
said.
then
that
I
was
don't say that.
Yeah, that was your the tavern you'd pick to stay at regularly. So.
Then that's not what I say to him.
Yeah. Which is actually a surprise that you and Xenophilius, I reckon your sleep patterns are so different that you'd never actually crossed each other in the tavern before.
Wait, he sleeps at that tavern too?
Tosca, wait.
What are you doing?
She was chewing one of your sonic screwdrivers.
Boss would be like, can I buy you a drink?
Not on work time, but thanks for the offer.
How busy is it?
It's not particularly busy. The stealthy cog is kind of, if I recall correctly, it's kind of dwarven built, perspective-wise. So you're probably the tallest person in here. You're used to it. It's a bit more, familiar of some of the places at home. But yeah, it's slightly smaller. So it seems busier in terms of people per square foot, but it's not as busy as you've seen it. It's about half full, you'd say.
So, I wanted to know if you had any intel.
Depends what you're asking.
Nothing too extreme, just, wanted to do a bit of a background check on one of my colleagues, I guess, party members.
What are they like?
You'd know him for it. Tiny fairy man.
The
Old
old bloke.
speaks with weird voice. Sorry?
The old bloke.
Xenophilius.
Aye, that long fancy name. Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know the bugger.
yeah.
Yes, he stays here.
What?
Yeah. He's got
Yeah.
room 17 upstairs. Yeah. Long-term loan. He's put down a deposit.
Huh.
What do you need to know about him? I've barely been able to make sense of him myself.
Oh, just, whatever you know.
Xenophilius, how often have you been drinking at the Stealthy Cog?
Drinking?
Like drinking.
I would say not very often.
Okay.
He's there when he is there and he has had breakfast. He's there eating it at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
However, he's not one to
chat while he eats.
And he's not one to get drunk often.
Okay.
Hence his lack of tolerance, I think, as well as another.
Yeah. Another contributing factor. Yeah. Okay. In which case he's like, I honestly don't know what to tell you. He's a character.
Mm.
Eats at the bar mostly. Doesn't really. Well, he talks, but it doesn't really go anywhere.
Mm.
You know.
You ever said anything about kings?
Wait, you don't know that?
I know about the
King
King
of
of
Ash and Thorn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I imagine Xenophilius would have been pretty tight-lipped.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I will, I'll have some food, I'll, have some banter.
Yeah. Conversation eases off fairly quickly when you stop trying to pry about a guy who he's actually got basically nothing on.
But I eat here quite often. I'm sure I like see some other regulars.
Yeah, there's a couple who sort of give you a little friendly wave. Mostly people that you've seen eat here on the regular as well. Like there's a small little halfling couple that don't actually stay here but just come here for the meals. There's a dwarf that's usually in one corner nursing what always looks like the same kind of beer, but you're convinced it's always a fresh one because he can't have nursed that beer for so long in so many sittings. But yeah.
So once I finish eating and stuff, I'm gonna be like, oh god, climbed the stairs today.
Aye, they're a little bit of a pain. I hear they're fixing it soon. The lift on the main plaza, that'll make it a lot easier.
Oh, can they hurry it up?
Oh,
Geez.
right. Oh.
Oh. Anyway, nice to see you. And
Nice to see
I
you
think
too.
I'd probably like offload. No, not the grapes.
Oh dear.
Not the grapes. I know they look so fun to play with. He's in such a rambunctious mood.
Oh dear.
And then I'm gonna out. What room do I stay?
Let me roll a d20. No way.
It was 17.
Nope. You're
20.
in the room next door. 16.
Oh my god, that makes me so happy. So, what I'm gonna do
Yeah.
is I'm gonna get upstairs. I'm going to cast Pass Without Trace on myself.
Okay.
And I'm gonna break into his room.
Okay. On that revelation, I think we're going to have to call it there. Because it needs to be a somewhat shorter session tonight. But cool, we'll pick it back up next
Oh, do I have to
time.
decide what's in my room then?
Sorry?
Sorry?
Do I have to now decide what's in my room?
Yep.
Secret.
But you've got a week. You've got a week maybe to do it. If we're on next week.
All right.
Yeah. Can I ask, does Phileas, when he wakes up the next morning, does he remember telling me that he was a king?
No, because that was so close to passing out.
Love it.
He'd have been far
You
too.
could also, if he's like, oh, did you tell me anything? And you could be like, oh yeah, you said these jokey things that I have not taken seriously at all.
You could absolutely mess with it.
I'm gonna save it and shit him up with that info.
Alright, so Xenophilius, or Dylan, you'll need to decide what's in Xenophilius's room for next week.
All right.
Just like quick notes for me to decide it, so I know to follow up with. Otherwise, we will cut back next week to Vossa breaking in. Remember that you've got Pass Without Trace active.
Yeah,
Okay.
bug.
Note it somewhere, because I certainly will forget. Thank you very much for that, and we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
Bye bye.